It's Saturday, October 19th, 2024. I'm TC Kirkham, and this is the Kirkham Report. Greetings, vinyl community. I'm TC Kirkham. Welcome to TKR VideoCentral's Kirkham Report every Saturday at 4 p.m. usually. I have a lot of stuff on this week's calendar, pickups, stories, and everything else. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right to this week's cover story. This past week, Billboard magazine set off a panic in the vinyl community. Monday, they published an article on their website, and I don't know if it actually made it into the print copy, because the print copies are only every other week at this point, about how vinyl sales were down 33% in 2024. Well, a lot of vinyl community websites were losing their minds over this news. And not surprisingly, vinyl resurgence has been huge. How could it have dropped? Well, it didn't. And thankfully, before a lot of those reports got on the air, and quite a few channels I saw were doing stories about it, Billboard and Luminate corrected the data. On Wednesday, or Tuesday night actually, on Wednesday all over, they corrected the data and said no, that had been an incorrect calculation, and the vinyl sales were actually up 6.2%. Now, here's the question I need to ask for everybody. When Billboard magazine and Luminate are the two sources of absolute material when it comes to music sales, at least in the United States and pretty much around the world anymore, when they make a mistake like that, what should happen? I mean, if this had been a stock thing, the stock markets could have crashed over that news. And yet, they didn't correct it for a full 24 hours. It was an interesting issue, and thankfully, as I said, most of the vinyl community sites that I watch that normally do stories about stuff like this got the new information in time to stop themselves from going off and doing a report that made them look like a fool. This is not something we expect from the Bible of the music industry. Billboard should check its figures 4 or 5 times before even attempting to publish them. This is not the first time this has happened. Billboard has done this before, and it is something that they seem to have a real problem with lately: quality control. I have been a big fan of Billboard. Billboard is the music Bible of the U.S. music industry, but I have not been a fan of their charts for close to 10 years now because of the way they reinvented them to incorporate streaming and all of that stuff. They don't do any strict sales charts anymore the way they used to, and so I kind of blow them off, but I still get all my big news from there. And when I saw that, I said to myself, this is not right. They're going to end up getting something wrong here. And sure enough, they did. It's time Billboard really start thinking about their quality control, especially on stories that could have a massive panic effect on the vinyl community. Not just YouTube's vinyl community, but vinyl collectors as a whole. Not all of them are involved here on YouTube. We want to draw more people in, not drive them away. Billboard, you need to check things more thoroughly and make sure your accuracy is right before you publish something on the web. And God forbid if you'd published it in the magazine before you got the corrected numbers. people would have been going out of their mind. Shame on you for causing that kind of check to be necessary. It shouldn't have been. You should have known better before it hit the store. And thankfully, you corrected it in time to stop any major panic in the vinyl selling industry. Watch your step, because there will be competitors if that continues. And that's this week's cover story.
Hey gang, we've got merch. Show off your love for all things TKR. Find t-shirts and more in the TKR swag shop. Click on the link in the show description. Like what you see? Level up! Become a TKR patron. We can always use more supporters of our channel. Click on the Patreon link in the show description.
Just a couple of pickups this week. I haven't been buying a lot the last couple of weeks. I did not do the pile-on. I actually bid on it, but I got outbid, and I let them outbid me because there wasn't a lot of stuff that I absolutely had to have in it. But on last week's Whatnot sale, I did pick up a couple of things, and I can't, if you're into 45s, and I have to admit, I am in the minority in the vinyl community. Most of my collection is 45s, although I do have close to 2,000 albums and close to 2,000 CDs. My singles are now approaching probably around 5,000, so I have quite a few. And this last week is no exception. I bought a couple because they were good. Don and Mary's Whatnot sale is every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And come on over. I mod for them, and we have a lot of fun. The two I picked up last week, a week ago this past Tuesday, were these. I just got a kick out of this. I thought from the title it was going to be kind of risque. It actually turned out to be quite a cute little song. This is Carol Bennett and Ting Me a Tong. I'd never heard it before, but I thought it was cute, and I liked it. It was the fact that every S is said as TH or T, so it's a little oddball. It's clearly a novelty record, and it's not offensive. I was afraid it would be offensive, so it's really cool. The other one I bought, I'm always looking for good instrumental stuff for my instrumentals show on Mixcloud, which is slowly coming up together. And this is one of those, Jose Melis and Curacao. I believe Jose, if I'm not mistaken, was Jack Parr's band leader on The Tonight Show. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me. Great little instrumental number. I'd actually heard it years ago on beautiful music stations. So I love stuff like that. I have some more coming that'll be here in time for next week's show. Don and Mary do all kinds of great stuff on the Two Hip Chicks, under the Two Hip Chicks banner. Here's their newest shirt right here. That's their cat Trevor spinning the tunes on the turntable. Love this shirt, by the way, Don. Whatnot is Tuesday at 7. Chick Chat is Tuesday at noon. Chick Chat Estate Sale Bingo Thursday at noon. Dawn also posts her random record listens where she's play grading on Sundays at noon. Weird Album Wednesday on Wednesday at noon, and an album from their collection on Friday at noon. Plus, they're also involved in New England Cajun Roots Resellers Auction every Wednesday at 1 p.m. And they do a few other things here and there, too. Don and Mary, thanks for the great pickups. Much appreciated. The last couple of months has been terrible for the passing of music stars, and shocking one this week was the death of One Direction's Liam Payne in an accident, what looks like an accident, in Buenos Aires. He fell from a third-floor balcony. He was pronounced dead at the scene. He was 31 years old. There's all kinds of questions as to what happened. Payne is known to have substance abuse issues in the past, and they called the police ahead of the accident or possible suicide, saying that they could hear noises coming from his hotel room, and when they got in there, it was trashed. There was drug paraphernalia around. The television was broken, and he was laying dead in the courtyard. The autopsy did say that they thought he did not seem to have any injuries on him, which would have been defensive injuries, which indicates that there was no foul play involved, and that he did not attempt to shield himself when he fell, which means he was either too inebriated to notice or he was unconscious. The full toxicology reports will take weeks to get back, but the music world was absolutely ripped by his sudden death this week. His fellow One Direction former members like Harry Styles and Zayn and Louis Tomlinson, and the fourth one I can't remember, Niall Horan, were all expressed their pain in a joint statement, as well as, I believe it was Niall posting a separate one on Instagram. Kudos coming from all over the musical industry. This last couple of months has been terrible. I tend to do my obituaries on Obscuria. I will pick a song from the person's career and talk about their life a little bit. I just have stopped doing it in the last couple of weeks because I had to do like 15 of them during September and early October, and it was really getting ridiculous. So I did not do Sissy Houston. I know she passed away recently. I apologize for that. I probably will throw something in a couple of weeks for in tribute to Liam. We'll see what happens. It's just a tragic story, and we still don't know the whole story of what happened. So keep tuned to your local music news outlet as the story continues to unfold.
If you like what you see on YouTube, don't miss the rest of the story. News, reviews, chart library, in-depth profiles, commentary, and more. Check out my full website, thekirkhamreport.com. An hour of lively discussion about music from two huge music fans. Finding Your Music Mojo with TC and Dawn. Live alternate Mondays, 7 p.m. USET. TKR Video Central and Two Hip Chicks on YouTube, and TKR Video Central on Twitch.
In the silly follow-up story, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago here on the Kirkham Report that James Blunt had made a daring offer to music fans in the UK that he would change his name to whatever anybody wanted him to change it to if they made his 20th anniversary edition of Back to Bedlam, his 2004 album, debut at #1 on the British album charts. Well, Blunt's name is safe. He did have a high debut, and it was his first appearance in the top 20 in almost the 20 years it's been since then. But Back to Bedlam, the 20th anniversary edition, premiered at #6 on the British UK album charts. So thankfully, he will not have to change his name to Blunty McFartface or something. You know, whatever he would have had to do. If you guys don't explore the James Blunt catalog, you should. I really enjoy a lot of his music, not just from that album, but from later albums as well. In addition to his best-known song in the world, You're Beautiful, there's 1973, there's High, he does so many good songs. He's worth looking into if you're not familiar with him. And James, I'm really glad you don't have to do a name change just to suit your fans, because Number 6 is nothing to sneeze at for sure. And is Back to Bedlam's 20th anniversary coming out here? I'd like to know because I'd like to get it.
Stay ahead of dangerous weather no matter what the season. Stay aware and stay safe. PNR WeatherCentral on YouTube. An ongoing living history of record stores past, present, and future, driven by your memories and contributions. RecordStoreRewind.com. Check it out today.
Shining bright, day and night, we light up the stars with spotlight.
Record Store Day?
Record Store Day.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. There are 10 reasons why Record Store Day is awesome.
You got 10 reasons why.
10 reasons why Record Store Day is awesome.
Wow.
Do you want to know the number 1 reason?
Hit it.
Increases foot traffic.
It does. It does. That day.
You've heard me bring this place up numerous times on this show because I go through them to purchase a lot of Record Store Day stuff and also other odds and ends. But Spin Me Round, which you can find at spinmeroundstore.com online, and you can find them under Spin Me Round on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere else, posted a great video last night as they were chatting about the 10 things that make Record Store Day awesome. And it's actually a rather long video. It's almost 45, it's a little over 45 minutes long. But in that video, Spin Me Round's owner, and I'm sorry, I have forgotten your name. I know Stephanie's name. I've forgotten your name, sir. Talked at length about how people are always complaining about Record Store Day. I'm no innocent in that way. I do often kvetch about the prices, kvetch about the selections, and I'd never really heard. I've heard it from a retail point of view here and there, but he really made it sound clear, crystal clear. You know, that he doesn't mind being stuck with some Record Store Day product because he knows it will move eventually. He showed the section of the store that had their Record Store Day leftovers in it, and that it's 10 years they've had it there, and it's not that large when you consider the rest of the store. I always feel sorry for record stores that end up getting stuff that I don't think they can move, but obviously they do think you can move it eventually. Record Store Day is changing, has changed a lot since I came aboard in 2020. Everything has been terrific, but I think this is number one. I love watching the Spin Me Round videos. I watch them every time they're up because they're so fun. If there was a real life Empire Records where the employees were the heart and soul of the store, it is Spin Me Round all the way around. They have always been super fast with their shipping. They're super good prices, and I enjoy using them immensely. I can't recommend watching this video enough, though. If you're a Record Store Day fan, go watch it. It's something. It takes the 45 minutes to watch and listen to their side of Record Store Day, because so often as consumers we don't think of their side of Record Store Day. We think only of ours. And it's really worth doing. If you're in their area, they are located in the Palmer Park Mall in Easton, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour outside of New York City. And I love looking. When they go through and do flip videos, or when they're just taking the cameras around, the stuff you can spot in their gently used sections are hilarious. I found a Rex Smith album this morning while I was watching the video. I'm like, really? Wow. I love finding stuff like that. It's always fun to have stuff pop up you don't expect. Guys, we love you guys. I Spin Me Round. You guys obviously have a huge following from all the subscribers you have, and it's always great to hear your side of the story. If you ever have something like that again, by all means, let us know what you're feeling, because that does help. And keep up the great videos. Love watching the unboxings. Love watching these behind-the-scenes things. Loved watching the buy video that you had for the big collection you bought. They're always great, and I hope people will check you out. Okay, I owe these guys a shout out because one of them shouted me out on the show a couple weeks ago, and I love watching this podcast. I want to have a shout out to Jim Gleason at Radio Wasteland Records in Midland, Michigan, and Steve Carlson, the vinyl community mayor, as they call it, as Jim always calls him, now living in, I believe he's in Aurora, Colorado. He's somewhere in Colorado, in a Denver suburb. They host a great podcast every Sunday night called Two Guys Talking About Records. And a couple of weeks ago, when they were talking about 45s, Steve did bring me up as a big collector of 45s, which I am. I love listening to their perspective. Not only do we get to see their new purchases, but we get to hear them talk about topics that are important to the record store community. They do have one of the most listened to shows. They're part of the the Vinyl Community Podcasts Network. You can listen to them on the Radio Wasteland YouTube channel, on Spotify, on Apple Tunes, iTunes, or whatever it is now, Apple Music. And it's always a fun show. It's usually around 45 minutes or so. And the topics are always well worth it. And Jim and Steve are two great people. I've been watching Jim's live Saturday morning show also, where he's talking about what's going on. Even though I'm a half thousand miles away from Midland, Michigan, I know that Steve thinks the world of him, and they do retail mail orders, so I may eventually do something with him. We'll see what happens. But anyway, if you haven't checked it out yet, go check out Two Guys Talking About Records with Jim Gleason from Radio Wasteland Records and Vinyl Community's very own Steve Carlson, taking it from the point of a record store owner and a record collector. Their shows are always worth the time and effort. Thanks, guys. Great show. The songs are almost all out, and I will begin Junior Eurovision coverage a week from Monday. That is October 28th. Junior Eurovision coming from Madrid, Spain in mid-November, pretty early November. I think it's November 16th this year. I got a lot of songs to listen to. I got a lot of stuff to comment on. All of the coverage of that, we'll have some of it running up here on the channel, but most of it will be over on my website, thekirkhamreport.com, and that's where I usually do it. I do write-ups about each song and my opinions about the contest and everything else. And we're starting to get a little bit of information about the regular Eurovision, which will be coming from Eisel, Switzerland, I think it's called. This year. Those of you who know I'm a wrestling fan, Joe Hendry is a name that you might hear. He's done spots on various wrestling shows, mostly on TNA. He did a song called I Believe in Joe Henry. Well, he's announced he's entering that song, a remix of it, in the Eurovision contest in England this year, because he is, I believe, from the UK. Joe, I hate to tell you this, the song came out before eligibility, so I don't know that you're going to be able to enter it as a contest song, because I think the songs can't be released before September 1st, and that first appeared in April or May of this year, so I don't know whether that's going to be allowed. And I'm sorry to say, dude, don't think it'll get very far, but Britain also sent Flying the Flag to Eurovision a few years ago, so who knows? We will see what happens. Junior Eurovision coverage starts a week from Monday. I hope you'll tune in. One thing I've discovered over the past couple of weeks, taking most of my shows off during this month, is that I'm really getting a lot of work done. I have a deadline for November that I'm right now is probably going to be pushed back to February, which is good for me. Although I want to talk about what I'm doing with that when I can. It's something that I'm doing for me and for the site and for my channel. But I have another thing going on also that I'll be revealing in a couple of weeks that's also exciting for me and my site, thekirkhamreport.com. I've been getting a lot of things caught up, rebasing everything, getting things back in place. We were able to get Radio Retro back last week because the download issue has disappeared from one of my download programs. I'm still not sure about Saturday Night Disco Party for this week. I'm trying to put something together, but I keep getting blocked. So it may be another week before that gets back up. And I'm definitely going to try and have the Pop 50 Challenge back next week. Other than that, though, the regular weekly hosted shows will be off, just doing the countdown shows right now. That seems to be where the strength is, and I'm posting 2 or 3 times a week on my community page with different things, not always right along with this. I did put up a notice to try and get word out about the Billboard story this week. But all kinds of stuff going on, and I hope the room is getting there now, and I hope that my studio will be ready to premiere in its entirety in a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. In any case, that's the latest going on from inside the booth.
It's too late to change what's true, but someday always comes too soon.
This Monday, October 21st, will be our Halloween edition of Finding Your Music Mojo with TC and Dawn. We will be joined by our respective spouses, Mary from Dawn's side and Kim from my side, as we talk about our Halloween memories. It's not all going to be music oriented. We are going to talk about Halloween music too. But it's going to be Halloween stories, stuff we remember from our childhood, and just happy, sad, crazy, all the crazy stuff that we remember about trick-or-treating and Halloween in general. And we hope that that will please you. So come by. It's live Monday, the 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We will have the chat open so you can come in and chat, and it'll be a lot of fun. I hope you'll enjoy what we've got. There hasn't been all that much music, actually, for Halloween, but we'll probably talk about that as well. And in any case, we hope you're there. Join us, won't you? Well, folks, that's going to do it for the rest of this week. Now, coming up this week on Obscuria, Monday through Friday at 11, I just did a week of the TC's hits that should have been. This week, it's TC's How Did This Ever Hit #1. All 5 songs cleared, so I will bring you the ones I had initially intended to. There are 3 songs I absolutely loathe, and most of the vinyl community knows I loathe them. There's a song I grew to like a little bit more as I got older, and a song that was just a big hit that was like, how did they ever get this on the air, let alone get it to #1? Those will all be coming up Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern on TC's Obscuria Vaults every morning. Also coming this week, Radio Retro Sunday at 4, Classic Charts Monday at 4, and I think flashback tracks will be one more week. I've got the new opening and stuff done before it returns with the Billboard Easy Listening Adult Contemporary #1s year by year. And then, of course, I'm hoping to get back to speed on all the shows week after next, and that's the goal. So we'll see. Everything has been working out very well. I do have a few other things to do, and of course we've got this election thing coming up. Boy, I don't get political on this show. I keep my politics to myself, but man, it's a nail biter, and it's scary either way. Whichever side you're on, it's like, oh God, my side has to win. And believe me, I feel like my side has to win. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in that also. But another couple of weeks before we have to worry about that, thankfully. If you've already subscribed, thank you. And if you haven't, please do. I'm trying to get to 800 subscribers by Halloween, 900 by Thanksgiving, and 1,000 by the end of the year. And I'd love you to spread the word and tell people I'm here and say, hey, go subscribe to him, because he's got lots of great music content and we want to see more of his shining, smiling face. And because I'm trying to do some stuff. I will be doing some stuff in connection to the stuff I have going on in November. And that stuff will pop up in November and December. But I will be doing some projects that I'm actually having to do for that. So those will show up eventually on the site as well. But if you haven't subscribed, please do. And please don't forget to share, like, and leave a comment. Your comments are how I know what I'm doing is fun, is overbearing, is ridiculous, or is just plain fun and knowledgeable. I like making people smile. That's what I try to do. There are times when I get pissed off about music industry, like Billboard this week, but there are also, life is too short to go around pulling your hair out constantly, whether it's become work or family or politics or whatever. Music is the escape from that. Use it as such. I do. I know I do. I know most of the vinyl community friends I have do as well. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, and I hope you all have a nice week this next week. Until next time, when I see you here again and throughout the week all over the interwebs, I'm TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Ciao, baby.